And they don't know that even though we're in Greece, we start on time. That's what we're going to do. And we will start on time because this sets in motion the whole process. And this afternoon session will take place this afternoon and not tomorrow morning. So this is our model. So we're going to start on time. Now my name is Gregory Papanikos. I'm the president of this association of academics and researchers from so many different countries. And I'd like to welcome all of you to Athens, Greece, once more. And I'm sure we'll have a very nice conference for today and tomorrow. And I have more to say, but firstly, I'm going to give the floor to our Vice President, Professor George Koulos. He will do a formal presentation of what we are doing. Then Professor Makedon will say a few words. And then I'll do my tricks. I'll say whatever void has been created, and I can cover it, and I say a few more things, because I want to make sure that the things that I'm going to say, people will be here to hear, because still they are coming in, and they are very important, because relate to the logistics of the events we organize. So it is, since our policy is available on our website, but nobody reads it. Or 95% of the people that come to the conference do not bother reading it. But it's important to understand how we do things, because if you fall in love with us, then you know under what condition you fall in love. Professor George Koulos, you have the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Papanikos. Well, good morning from me as well. Of the Athens Institute for Education and Research, Atiner for short. I'd also like to welcome you to this international conference. I'm just going to say a few words about the Institute first. Atiner was established in 1995, and its mission has been to act as a forum for academics and researchers from all over the world to come together to this historic cradle of democracy, Athens, in order to exchange ideas on their research, to interact with each other, and to discuss future developments in their disciplines. Atiner is a world association of academics and researchers, and over 95% of our members are from institutions outside Greece, and our conferences are therefore designed in such a way as to cater mainly for foreign academics. The basic activities of Atiner include the organizing and hosting of international conferences such as this one, as well as symposiums, the carrying out of research, and the production of various publications. And since 1995, Atiner has organized more than 300 international conferences and other events, and has published close to 200 books. Atiner has also organized numerous roundtable discussions and public speeches on topical issues. The Institute is also currently involved in an ambitious project regarding the proposed establishment of an academic village. The aim is to establish a community of research scholars and academics, and the proposed village will include a conference center, living facilities, as well as facilities for research and recreation. And you'll find more information on this in your file. Now, turning to today's formal activities, you should each have a program by now. And in some instances, there are parallel sessions, and of course you will choose which one you'll go to, if it of course applies to you. Please also note, and this is very important, that each presentation is limited to 15 minutes. The chairpersons will keep time and will use 3 and 1 minute reminder cards. I'd like to ask the chairs to adhere strictly to the time constraints. Please allow for questions and discussion after all the papers have been presented and not after each paper. The chairpersons must also fill out the report forms that they will be receiving. This is important because the final program will be based on the chairperson's reports. Should you need to make use of technical facilities in your presentation, please confirm that everything is in order before the session begins. There will be someone from the admin staff to help you in this regard at all times. And of course, there will be a coffee break between sessions. Now, you should each also have a social program in your files. The Greek night tonight is to be recommended. Apart from Greek cuisine, there will be lots of Greek music and dancing, and of course you'll be invited to join in if you like. And then of course there is also the open walk tomorrow. Then follows the cruise to selected islands and the visit to the ancient site of Delphi. On the issue of publications, the Institute is involved with various publications. Firstly, there are the abstracts which are published. We are aware of the fact that certain institutes do recognize abstracts as formal publications. They have their own ISBN number and can of course be cited. And in this way, the paper contents can be disseminated as quickly as possible and can allow for feedback from researchers in the area of study which are involved. Secondly, the papers that are presented are placed on the web as part of an online paper series once the editing of the papers has been attended to and with your approval, of course. They'll have their own ISSN number and of course will be cited. The purpose of this publication series is to firstly disseminate information in your paper as quickly as possible, and secondly to allow for feedback in case you wish to make amendments before you submit your paper for publication in a book. With regard to book publications, you'll receive an email soon after the conference asking you for a final draft for publication consideration and any other information that may be relevant. All papers that are submitted will go through a referee process before they are considered for publication in a book. Finally, Atiner has its own journal series now. Papers submitted for the journals also go through a double-blind peer review process and which is monitored, of course, by an editorial board. Right, moving on to collaboration. We at Athens would also like to collaborate with other institutions from all over the world. Academics, researchers, and institutes are invited to collaborate with our institute on research and education projects. If you're not yet a member of the institute, we'd like you to join while you're here at the conference and to assist with the reviewing and editing of papers at a later stage. We're also encouraged to collaborate as delegates at future conferences by submitting proposals for special panel discussions on a theme related to your own research. Academics and researchers interested in your theme will then be invited by us to participate in a special panel discussion. Part of our vision at this institute is to organize visiting fellowships, and we hope to introduce this soon. Finally, colleagues, as is clear from the program, you've come from so many different countries, and we at Atiner sincerely hope that you'll make the most of this opportunity to interact with each other, that you'll enjoy this conference, that you'll go back home with fond memories, not only of the conference, but also of Athens, and most of all, that you'll want to come back to future conferences. Thank you very much, and enjoy the conference.
Thank you very much, Professor Poulos. And now from South Africa, we'll go to Philippines. Professor Michael, who wants to impress the world.
Kalimera σας, which means good morning in Greek. Kalos ήλθατε means welcome. I enjoyed reading your papers. Your papers are very, very valuable to us, every one of them. I enjoyed reading the abstracts. And I noticed there is a philosophical bent this year to anything that you wrote about, which is, I don't know if it's because you intended it or because you're in Athens. Athens is known, of course, for its philosophers. Socrates, for example, an Athenian, mentioned, and probably all know this, but I'm not sure you know the Greek, that an unexamined life is not worth living. And in Greek, ode anexetastos bios, ou biotos anthropo. That's in ancient Greek in Socrates' apology. So I hope you have a wonderful time and enjoy Athens. Thank you.
Thank you. Now that there are a lot of people, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Gregor Papanitos, for those of you who came late, and I'm president of this association. I'd like to say a few words first about the K project. How many of you know about this or have received an email from us that we have a meeting tomorrow at 7 o'clock, but George Poulos will chair it. I'll explain there what is this, but the idea is very simple. We have a questionnaire, and since we have so many members from so many different countries, we like them to get involved. And it's an idea that I cannot explain now in 3 minutes, but in essence, it meets the mission of this association, trying to identify all the academics in the world that might be interested in collaborating, in coming, of course, to Athens, exchange ideas. And as a starting point, we have a small questionnaire. Some of you might know it, but we will discuss it tomorrow after. But please let us know if you plan to attend, so we know the logistics of this event. It will take place in room B, most probably. So it's for tomorrow after the Pullman walk. Now, I want to emphasize something about chairs. Chairs are very important because they are timegivers. If for whatever reason you have this internal movement to talk, like, I know some people, I know that feeling, you have a chair a lot, many times, and sometimes I like to attack the presenter and the speaker. I find myself, I constrain myself. Now, if you cannot constrain yourself, the only solution is to change it. So please let us know if you want to talk during your chair shift. Let us know so we can replace it. Chairs do not talk. And this is very important for many reasons. And one of the reasons is that we have people here. English is only a mode of communication. You can see Professor Macedon talk to you in ancient Greek. Of course, that was originally a thought, so we can have all our deliberations here in ancient Greek. We found very few people, including myself, that they have been familiar with ancient Greek. So that was our question. So English was chosen because most people speak English. And of course, we do not accept whatever cultural, political, social connotation might be implied by the use of the language. The reason that the chairs they have to take this into consideration is because people, English is not their first language, including mine. Of course, my accent is perfect. That's how English is spoken. But that's a different story. We're talking about other people, not about ourselves, of course. And they have problems with the English language, and some of them they don't want even to be asked questions, especially the young generation. But you will be surprised to find out what's going on outside. Then you will see where the discussion takes place. It doesn't take inside the room, it takes outside. And I can tell you from a very, very long experience, that means I'm more, from organizing conferences, that believe it or not, most of the discussions and collaboration take place outside the room. This is not to justify to stay all the time outside the room. Because when I say to somebody, I'm deliberating, and usually it's after a man or a girl, because flirting is part of this, especially for the young generation of scholars. We have all done that during our first conferences. We forget about when we get older. But still, it exists. It's part of the game. But please follow the sessions. And something else for the young generation, because this is a good investment for them. If you think that you come here, present for 15 minutes, impress Socrates, Aristotle, and all that guys that are dead now, and leave, I think it's a very bad investment. I'm not talking about the old guys anyway, because they don't care. But they have their profession, they have their tenure. But if you're in the beginning of your career, it's very important to go around and go after senior guys. This is a great opportunity to meet people from different countries. Apart from that, we videotape all the rules. So we send the movie back to your church department. And we say, this guy you think participated in the conference, if you find him or her, please let us know, because we are still waiting for him. So this is an important thing. Apart from that, it's not a blackmail, it's the proof of the matter. And of course, don't expect certificate of attendance if you come tomorrow afternoon and say I was in the conference. So this is very important to spend some time. Now, of course I'm kidding, but it's important to understand that if you don't participate, I think you missed the essence of this one. We do know that you come here because of Athens and Greece. Just you want the institute to write off your expenses. So what someone else paid for your trip. We know that. But we benefit from that. So we can organize something that is acceptable, something that is good. And with your help, we can do it better. Now, let me clear something, because some people complain, believe it or not. There are people that complain. And surprising enough that they complain. And they love to complain during conferences about everything. Now, we have tried everything. We cannot satisfy you. 100% satisfied. We have to make two choices. I mean, even people complain about the olive oil that the Greeks sell. I'm not kidding. And they complain about the cookies. I mean, and again, I'm not kidding. Now, it's very important to understand that we have tried everything. We have to make two choices. One is downtown hotel or resort hotel. Whenever we try to go outside downtown, the complaints were huge. So we stick with this dirty area of Athens, downtown. Once we live 8 kilometers outside the downtown, still people come. Nice hotel, but this is the best hotel of the area. And they don't have enough rooms there. There are better hotels in Cinema Square. But Cinema Square, when there is a revolution, they block. They don't need to go in and out. So we know the problem, because BBC is there, CBS is there, all the big channels are there, and they have live coverage of the revolution that takes place now. And they block the hotels. Of course, they are expensive, but they block. So you cannot go in or out. It's very difficult to have a conference there, even though it's very expensive. So the best hotel in downtown Athens is this one. And the surrounding area is one of the worst in Athens. And I explained that. We don't complain, we have to be very careful. Athens is a 5 million people city. And it's a radius of 50 kilometers. From Sunyu to Marathon, it's Athens. To Elefsina, to Parnica. All this is Athens. There are areas that are very beautiful. But once you move outside the downtown, that is dirty, that whatever, as I wrote, and I said, people, they are not satisfied. So we found something better. What is? We found a middle solution. But still people complain, but we cannot blame it. We have to decide either downtown hotel or resort. And this is, believe it or not, I'll finish with this story about the logistics, because I do care when people complain. I take it very seriously. But complain for something that I can change. I cannot change Athenians, and I cannot change the infrastructure of Athens. And it's all mental as well. This hotel was an Olympic hotel. There was some guy from our hotel, he had money, and when he found out the hotel that he was staying, immediately he wanted to check out. When I told him that it's an Olympic hotel, and John Rock, the president of the IOC, was dining on the roof of this hotel, he canceled his cancellation. So he can go back to his place and say, I stayed and I ate at the same place that the president of IOC. And still the rooms, I know what the rooms are, because I know from the smallest to the largest room. Now, panels. I want to say, another criticism is that, these guys, they organize a conference, whatever you want to say in 15 minutes, as long as you pay for the fee. This is true. In other words, it's non-thematic. There's a reason for that. But, as we do this here with online education, it's up to you, and I'm talking about the senior guys. If you like what we are doing, next year, organize a very special one in your own area of research as part of this conference. And if you don't present, you don't pay any fee as well. So we try to find again a middle solution. So if you want, you can organize a series of ones. And since we organize many conferences, almost this year we organize more than 50 conferences, but a lot of people, every week we have an event, a lot of people that organize funds. So if you like what we are doing, wait until tomorrow. Then you can become a member, you don't pay any fee, and then you can organize a fund. Finally, those that they know us for over the years, they know that we are improving, it's not perfectionists. Perfectionists are the people in Greece that they don't do anything. They wait until they are ready for the perfect thing to do, and then they die. What we try to do is, was a nice guy because he didn't do anything inside. Now, the thing is that we try to, every year, to do something better than last year, with not a linear and smooth one. We go down, up, down, but if you smooth it out, you see that we improve. One of the improvements is our Germans. We are struggling with that. I think we can have a very good German, because we have the substance, it's here, the papers. The Athens Journal, for example, I'll say one journal, the Athens Journal of Education, which publishes 20 papers per year, has a choice of 400 papers. The problem is that good professors don't like us. They don't want to send their papers. But if you do have a tenure, if you do have a professorship, please help us, and maybe in the eternity you will be known as one of the contributors to the Athens Journal of Education. So this is very important what I'm saying. But we have a very good selection process. We have a review board, and we have the material. We don't really care about papers. What we care is about the reviewers and the good papers to be submitted. Because some people come here for vacation, they don't really care about their paper to be submitted. But please do help us. It's for our own good and for what we do as academics. If you have a good paper, send it, and we'll go through review process. And of course, you can help us with reviewing. We do need that, because if you don't help us with reviewing, you cannot complain why the review process is delayed. So you see, this is the thing. You have to help us so we can become better. Now, I don't think I have more to say. That was all Greek to you. I do hope. And I'll be around most of the time, and find your rooms. There is a problem with rooms here. Room A, that's what we call the worst room of this conference. That's what we call the room A, because it's the worst. Because you might call room D is the worst. But we call it room A. It's just one floor up. And please go there, and so we can start on time. Thank you very much. I hope I see you again next month. Okay, we have to run. We have 10 minutes to start.